Tonight on Beer Geek Nation, Goose Island Brewing, Juliet. Hey guys, welcome to Beer Geek Nation. I'm your host, Chris Steltz. Sunday. It is a Sunday night. End of a very long weekend for me. I had to work third shift this weekend, so I'm kind of running on a little bit of lack of sleep with a new baby and third shift, and it's, you know, kind of crazy around here. But anyway, so with that said, I decided to break out one of my special beers from the beer cellar. This is a 2009 Goose Island Juliet. It's kind of a weird classification of a beer. It's considered an American wild ale, but at the same time, it's also considered a Belgian sour. It's basically a rye beer, so it's got another classification. It's a rye beer that is aged in, I wrote this down so I didn't screw it up. It's aged in Robert Craig Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc wine barrels. And on top of all that, they hit it with a shot of Brettanomyces yeast, which is it's a wild yeast strain that originated in the Lambic Valley in Belgium, which is where they get the term lambic. Basically the lambic style beer from the Lambic Valley in Belgium, which this Brettanomyces, just lived free and got into the beer and made everything delicious. American brewers are starting to, use this yeast, culture this yeast in a lot of their beers, and it creates a sour beer. It's kind of a developing beer in the U.S. A lot of people are starting to get into Flemish sours and even more so American sours. Russian River does a lot with wild yeast, Brettanomyces yeasts, with their sour ales, American sours, American wild ales, stuff like that. So this comes in at 6.7%. This is the 2009 version. There is a new version of this coming out in June. They release it once a year, and it is in June. I got this a few months ago. It's good. They say for up to 5 years in the cellar. So, if you get a hold of a bottle or two, try one, and then leave one in your basement for a while. Let it, because that Brettanomyces yeast really does kind of funky, pardon the expression, funky, strange things over time, and everything's going to kind of mellow out. The yeast is going to kind of gain it's more of a fruity flavor rather than the sourness kind of goes away. It tries to get more sweetness to it. I will warn you about this beer, as people have warned me about this beer. It is crazily carbonated. From what I understand, once you pop the lid on this thing, it just kind of wants to go everywhere. With that said, let me open it up, get it into a cup, let you know how it smells, how it tastes, and we will go from there. So, I don't know. As you can see, that pour was, less than desirable, but I did what I could. I popped the cap. It didn't blow up when I popped the cap, so that was, a step in the right direction. So I'm like, all right, put it in the freezer for a couple minutes, and then I pretty much immediately poured it, and you saw, the result of that. And that is just a byproduct of the Brettanomyces yeast, the wild yeast, kind of the bottle re-fermentation. You take the good with the bad, and that's, it's not a bad thing. It just makes the beer hard to drink, which is, a problem. You have it sitting in your cup, you got to wait for it. Oh, it's the humanity kind of moment. But pouring this thing, it's got this amazing, I don't know how to describe it other than, this is aged with blackberries, I should say, or fermented with blackberries in the wine barrels. So you get this amazing kind of fruity, citrusy, floral kind of aroma. Not like hops, more like fresh fruit. I mean, fresh, like cut up fruit salad almost. And that's, as soon as you pop the bottle, that's what you get. And it's kind of strange, because usually when you pop like, a West Coast double IPA, you get that hop aroma right out of the bottle. This one I was getting the blackberries and kind of the wine and the fruitiness of the blackberries out of the bottle, which I've never had from a beer, so that's kind of cool. And then, you know, initially smell, well, first of all, all right, let me do the aroma here. Yeah, lots of, if you've ever had Lindemans Framboise, it smells like a less sweet version of that, mixed in with a ton of that Belgian funk that a lot of people kind of really like. And I'm kind of becoming a convert to that kind of aroma. I think it's, it can go either ways. It can be really bad or really good. A lot of American brewers are starting to really nail that funk, and you know, people describe it as, quote, horse blanket smell. Look, I don't know what a horse blanket smells like. I've never tasted a horse blanket. I'm not about to use that term. To me, it smells like a farm or like wet hay. You know, if you've ever, you know, been around landscaping, when they put the hay down, when they put new grass, or if you've ever gone to a farm like after rain, or, you know, like a cornfield, or, you know, just like a wet field kind of after it's rained. It has that fresh kind of grassy hay kind of smell. That's kind of what when I use funkiness, that's kind of what it smells like. That's the Brettanomyces funk coming out. It is kind of an acquired taste, and if you get a beer with that smell and you don't know what it is, you're gonna be like, what the hell is this? That's what it is, and you know, it's a good thing. But this one, yeah, it's hard to explain. It almost smells like Sprite mixed with blackberries mixed with this Brettanomyces funkiness. So it's a crazy smell. It's a good smell. It's just a really crazy combination of these three smells, and it's really hard for me to do it justice. But I mean, that's basically the aroma of it: Sprite, blackberries, and funkiness from the Brettanomyces yeast. So it's kind of a crazy beer to even start off with. But then the second part of the craziness is, you could see the color of this thing in the pour. It is like a pinkish ruby red. I mean, it's a gorgeous color. I've never seen a beer quite like this color. And I'm guessing that's attributed from the blackberries, number one, and the wine barrels, number two. And you could see the head. I mean, obviously in that video, it's a light, well, it was, I should say, like a light pinkish, really light pink head. And again, that's from the blackberries, the wine barrels. But as it goes down, I'm getting more of a white kind of wheat head. There's a little bit of yellowness in there. I'm assuming that's from maybe the Brettanomyces. But as far as the taste goes, and the carbonation, obviously, it's carbonated through the roof. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is a great beer. I would definitely call this a American sour, without a doubt. Typically, Flemish sours tend to have a vinegary, apple-y kind of taste to them, a sweetness almost. This one is just straight up Brettanomyces sourness. On top of that, they add in the blackberries. There's, you don't get a lot of sweetness from the blackberries. You get a little bit of the flavor from the blackberries, but you get a ton of the tartness from the blackberries. I'm getting a ton of that. I mean, there's very, very, very little hop bitterness in it. This beer is primarily built just to be a kind of a stage for the yeast and the blackberries and the wine barrels, and you definitely get a lot of that there. Yeah, tons of carbonation. It almost tastes like a champagne just from the carbonation. It does remind me a lot of a Lindemans Framboise, or even like another, I'm trying to think of it, like a Leafman's Framboise, kind of a non-sweet raspberry lambic. I'm getting a lot of that flavor, but I'm getting that mixed in with a lot of the funkiness from the Brettanomyces and the sourness from the Brettanomyces and the raspberries. I'm getting a little bit of the oak. I was surprised. I detect a little bit of the oakiness. And when I say oakiness, I mean it's almost like a little bit of vanilla mixed in with like a fresh kind of cedary, sawdusty kind of taste. And again, that's kind of a taste you just kind of develop. It's kind of another one that's kind of hard to explain, but there's a lot of that there. It's a very well-balanced beer. It is an excellent sour beer, American sour. It's definitely, like I said, definitely different than a Belgian sour, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this one a 9. It is available in June, so this is last year's version of it. It's going to be coming out really soon. I would definitely recommend, if you can get Goose Island, try to get a bottle. If you've never had a sour beer, this is an excellent choice because, you know, you're not getting the straight up sour beer. It's mixed with blackberries and, you know, aged in wine barrels, and it's got the oakiness to it. So it everything kind of melds together and gives you a really well balanced beer without, you know, smacking you in the face with that sourness that some really, you know, these weird Belgian sours can kind of turn people off to them. This is an excellent example of an American sour. Again, this is Goose Island. It's Juliet. This is the 2009 version. 2010 is coming out next month. 6.7 alcohol by volume, American Wild Ale, and I highly recommend it. It's an excellent beer. So until next time, cheers.